हरि ओम। वक्रतुंड महाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुदेवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Namaste, friends. Today we are celebrating the 79th Independence Day of our country. Let's remember those brave, patriotic, selfless men and women who sacrificed everything to get us this independence. In the past 78 years, we have achieved many things, progressed in many fields, and to achieve this success, many of our people have strived for this. Let's also remember these eminent people on this auspicious day and get on with our spiritual journey. Team Paramvedanta takes delight in welcoming you to the second session of new series on Panchadashi Chapter 1, otherwise called Tattva Viveka. After the introductory verses, we are now taking up verses 5 to 8 for our study in today's session. Verse 5 deals with the deep sleep state or Sushupti, and Dr. Chandrakala will explain us about this. Verse 6 says how the same consciousness is in all three states, which will be explained by Srimati Chetana. Verse 7 declares Sat is forever and Chit is self-effulgent. Dr. Divakar will tell us in detail about this. Sri Shailendra will take up verse 8, which explains how the self is of the nature of bliss. Today's session will be moderated by Dr. Ravi Shankar sir, who will give us the final points of these verses. After the presentations, Srimati Rama Gopalakrishna will conduct a teaching quiz to deepen our understanding of these verses from 5 to 8. Before Dr. Ravi Shankar sir gives us introduction of today's proceedings, I request Srimati Apeksha to revisit the verses 1 to 4 we studied in our last class. Apeksha, please.
Hari Om. So, last week we started Introduction to Panchadashi. It's considered as a foundational Vedanta text. The author of Panchadashi, as we know, is Swami Vidyaranya ji, who was also known as Madhvacharya before his renunciation. Now, a brief text overview we saw. Panchadashi has 15 chapters or prakarnas. It has been divided into three groups: Viveka Panchaka, which is the discrimination part, the Deepa Panchaka, which is the illumination, and Ananda Panchaka, bliss, where the chapters end with Ananda Prakarna. The special features of Panchadashi that we saw is that it's a systematic and a very progressive presentation of Vedanta. It gives a clear classification of ideas with minimal repetition, and also it is only ideal for those students which have prior knowledge of Gita and Upanishads. What is the significance of reading Panchadashi? We saw it is one of the most accessible yet profound texts of Advaita Vedanta. It is prescribed as a compulsory textbook in Vedantic studies, and it has over 1500 verses. Some chapters very big, some chapters very concise. Next slide, please. So let's look, then we looked at the verses 1 to 4. So in the first two shlokas, Vidyaranya Swamiji is giving salutation to his Guru Shankarananda ji. Who is a Guru? It's considered Ishvara in our Vedantic tradition, and Namaskara is offered before you start any Vedantic text for the successful study and completion of it. What is the purpose of this salutation? To seek Ishvara Anugraha to overcome unseen obstacles. What is the Guru's role in this? He is the remover of ajnana, that is self-ignorance, and giver of Atma Jnana. Guru Shankarananda, who was Vidyaranya Swami's Guru, was a scholar, authored works on Gita, Upanishads, and Atma Purana. What is Ajnana? We also saw it is the Mahamoha Graha, and a crocodile was given as an example. It's a huge crocodile of delusion, which grips the jivas tightly, causing bondage, which is loss of freedom and pain, dukkha. We all experience that. What is the sansara? It's considered as vilasa, play of delusion under ignorance. So Guru's teaching is considered as Sudarshana Chakra, that is the destroyer of this ajnana. Vidyaranya Swami expresses gratitude for Guru's compassion in freeing him from this samsara. Next slide. So, introduction to Tattva Viveka Prakarana was given, which means where clear knowledge of the inner self or Atma Jnana was given. What was the subject matter in the first two shloks, which was Tattvasya Viveka? That is discrimination, clear understanding of Tattva, Atma. This chapter, the whole chapter, first chapter, as it was said, was aims to present the self-knowledge, Atma Jnana systematically for easy understanding. Who is it for? For qualified seekers with sadhana chatushya sampatti. That is discrimination, dispassion, discipline, and desire for liberation. Without these, knowledge won't take root, like sowing seeds in barren soil. So nothing will come up. What is the role of Guru in this? Guru helps the unqualified become qualified through his grace and guidance. And how do you receive the grace and guidance of the Guru? By doing seva and devotion. Seva means service, devotion, namaskara, even mental, to purify the mind and prepare the student. The goal here is to gain Atma Jnana, get free from the bondage of samsara. Next slide, please. So, in the third verse, we saw Jivatma was how the nature of Jivatma was expressed. Jivatma is equal to Satchit Ananda. Sat is eternal, Chit is consciousness, and Ananda is full, complete bliss. We saw that Jivatma is independent, all pervading consciousness. It's not a part, product, or property of the body. Like space, the consciousness survives death but becomes unrecognizable without a body medium. And we also saw in the third stroke that experience is equal to consciousness plus object. So one changeless consciousness is everywhere present, but it takes on relational names. Like for example, if you see a pot, it will become a pot experience. So it is consciousness plus the object, which is the pot. Sound experience will be consciousness but plus the sound that you are hearing from the object. So consciousness itself does not change, only the object through our sense organs and thoughts change. Next slide, please. And then we also saw the error of plurality. What is that? It means the plurality of experiences is apparent, not real. It's not real in nature because consciousness is one and same, but it appears manifold due to the different objects that we see through our sense organs. Pain or pleasure comes from the object and not from the consciousness. Same consciousness is across all the three states. That is the Jagrat state, waking state, it's consciousness plus stable objects that we are able to see. In the dream state, it's the fleeting objects, consciousness plus fleeting objects. And in Sushupti, deep sleep, it's consciousness plus absence of any object, which is blackness. So in all, consciousness is uniform, undivided, and changeless. Next slide, please. And lastly, we saw thoughts versus consciousness. So experiences can also be represented as consciousness plus our thought, which is the vritti. Thoughts rise and fall like waves. Consciousness is unchanging and continuous. So consciousness, as we saw, is not a part, property, or products of thoughts or body. It is present in between and beyond thoughts. So we have so many thoughts which are coming in our mind, right? So analogy there was given of a rasa krida, that is dance of divine bliss. So thoughts is like the gopis that are dancing and consciousness is like Krishna. So consciousness dances with each thought, but it remains unaffected. So this recognition, once you have that you are not the thoughts will come, they are like the gopis, will give you, and your consciousness is Krishna, which is unaffected, is equal to Ananda bliss. So core insight given in the last slok was consciousness is one, uniform, unchanging, behind the substratum, behind all the varied experiences that we have. Hari Om.
Thank you, Apeksha, for a very nice recap of the whole structure of Panchadashi and the last four verses. Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. We have visited Panchadashi earlier, and we do remember our sir telling us about this shloka. It's literally like a dhyana shloka for the Panchadashi. Namah Shri Shankarananda Guru Padambujanmane Savilasa Mahamoha Grahya Grasaika Karmane Tatpadamburuha Dvandaseva Vinirmala Chetasam Sukhabodhaya tattvasya vivekoyam vidhiyate. Tattvasya vivekoyam vidhiyate. So important is this simple aspect. The knowledge of Tattva, which is the immortal, inner, invisible essence of each one of us, the Atma. In this second verse, he clearly tells us that this Viveka of Atma and Atma will be a clear knowledge to each one of us who has had sadhana chatushtaya sampanna and is a qualified seeker. And how will he give this? Sukhabodhaya, by convenience and comfort of understanding in a very systematic, progressive manner. And that is the beauty of this Tattva Viveka, which is a very important requirement for all spiritual seekers. Tattva Viveka. Tat is that and Tva is ness. The presence of that Tat is important. And this is the doubtless knowledge of Aikyam. We all here have had quite a lot of Shravana, Manana. We are doing our Nididhyasana. And so we have Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampanna Adhikaranam. A clear understanding of the fact that worshipping the Guru, namaskara to the Guru, manasika namaskara to the Guru, service to the Guru gives us the qualification to gain Atma Jnana. And we know this picture of the Gajendra Moksha, and we are trying to free ourselves from the grip of this great crocodile of samsara. We have also quite clearly understood over the last several years the three levels of experience, Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti, the three bodies, the Sthula, Sukshma, and the Karana Shariras, and the importance of removing that ignorance through discrimination or viveka, which is essential for our goal of self-realization. While ignorance has been shown here as crocodile holding the prey tightly, in one of these grantha explanations, there is a mention of the guru being like a crocodile holding the shishya so tightly that he makes sure that they all realize Brahman. And this clear knowledge is what we are going to have by the end of this session, as well as by the end of Panchadashi, and it is not a cataract vision. May I now request Dr. Chandrakala to give her exposition of the 5th verse of chapter 1.
Thank you, sir. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. In verses 3 to 6, the three states have been discussed. The consciousness, when it comes in contact with objects, is called the experience, and without object, it is called consciousness. The consciousness is only one, appearing as many experiences. When the object changes in Jagrata dream state, example, man experience, God experience, cow experience, etc., the unchanging or undivided consciousness continues in Sushupti Avastha also, where the object is total blankness. The consciousness associated with blankness gives the sleep experience to us. So, consciousness obtaining in Jagrat, Swapna, and Sushupti Avastha is one and the same, but seemingly appear to be many. We have learned the differences in objects in waking and dreaming state in the previous verses. Coming to the verse, next slide, sir. Coming to the verse number 5. Suptotitasya sushupta tamo bodho bhavet smritihi sa chava buddha vishaya avabuddham tattada tamaha. In this verse, Swami Vidyaranya analyzes deep sleep state, that is Swapna Rahita state or Sushupti state. Vidyaranya points that here in sleep also we have a form of experience. It is not the blankness but the experience of blankness. So we say that in deep sleep, I did not experience anything else, but I was totally relaxed and comfortable. The absence of anything is Mula Avidya or dormant form. This blankness is but comfort and joy. That experience takes place in Sushupti and we recollect that experience after waking up. How do we know that we slept well after waking up from sleep? This recollection is possible only if we have collected that experience at the time of experience. We remember that blank experience of Sushupti, which proves that we have gone through that experience. In Sushupti, this proves that we have gone through that experience. This blank experience is tamas. Tama bodha means experience of blankness. If such an experience is to take place, thought should be there in existence in the sleep. Where does this thought arise? In mind. But in Sushupti, mind is resolved, means the mind is in dormant state. That is Karana Sharira. So, consciousness is present even in thoughts of latent state also, called Karana Sharira Vritti or Sukshma Vritti. This is a subtle thought. Hence, we don't recognize during this sleep, but we do it after waking up. Next slide, sir. Swami Vidyaranya says that Suptotitasya Sushupta, a person woken from sleep has clear knowledge about sleep. No experience is an experience. For example, if I say at 10 p.m. nobody was there in that hall, there was nobody other than me to experience that. There was nothing other than consciousness to experience nothingness. A blankness experience need a thought, and for that thought, that is tamovritti, one need consciousness. The sleeping knowledge in waking state is a memory. That memory comes if you have blankness experience in sleep. That memory takes place in dormant state of mind. So, in Sushupti also, thought is there. Even in Samadhi, thoughts are there in the form of Sukshma Vritti. Next line, Tama Bodha Bhavet Smritihi. That is, I knew nothing, is all that I remember. Sacha Avabuddha Vishaya. That itself is remembrance. That is, proof of some object expressed earlier. Avabuddha tat tadakramaha. That is, by inference that we obtain knowledge of deep sleep. For example, as by smoke we infer the presence of fire, so also this remembrance of nothing we infer the presence of object called ajnana. Thus, in all three states, the self is found to be same homogeneous entity for 24-hour cycle from the time we wake up in the morning till we sleep and till we wake up next day. So, consciousness always remains same when body-mind complex goes through three states periodically. I remain the same person throughout the day. Thank you, sir. That's all I have to present. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for a good presentation. And now can we move on to the next verse 6? May I request Srimati Chetna Madam to present the verse.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. This verse is an overlap, continues with the fifth verse. So to arrive at the essential nature of Jivatma, Swami Vidyaranya is analyzing the three states of consciousness to find out that unchanging principle present in all three states. So verses 3 to 9 discusses Jivatma, the essential nature of an individual. Now, how does one arrive at this essential nature? Superficially, all experiences seem different, but by analyzing the experiences of an individual in the three states of consciousness, one can see that the consciousness is continuous across. See in the next slide, any experience requires three factors. One object, which is constantly changing, a thought, which is also changing, and consciousness, which is unchanging. The consciousness is in and through all objects and thoughts, but is different from them. So Vedanta begins by turning our attention from the changing object and thoughts to the changeless consciousness. Unfortunately, what is changing is easily noticed, but the unchanging consciousness is taken for granted. For example, we pay more attention to the movie and the screen is forgotten. Next slide. So verses 3 to 6 study the experiences of an individual in a single day. And this sixth verse is a continuation of the fifth verse, and so must be clubbed with it. Next slide. So in the fifth verse, we just heard that in deep sleep, we are not aware of any external objects or internal thoughts. However, after a person says, I slept well, I had total blankness, tamaha. Here, the object of experience is blankness. Just as objects need thought or vritti for experience, the blankness also needs a thought for experiencing the blankness. That thought is called as avidya vritti. Next slide. But vrittis or thoughts are jada or inert. They cannot form an experience by themselves. But in the presence of consciousness, the thoughts and objects become experienceable. Just as objects in a room are seen in the presence of a non-participating light. Therefore, in the next slide, in sleep, all the three factors are present. The variable changing blankness object, the changing blankness thought, and the changeless consciousness. Now, how does one know in sleep, I did not know anything? A memory is not possible without past experience. Therefore, the waker's memory of blankness is a clue to the sleeper's experience of blankness. Therefore, we'll see in the next slide. Vidyaranya says in this sixth verse, Sa bodha vishayat bhinna. This consciousness in deep sleep state is indeed distinct from that dream object. Na bodhat swapna bodhavat. But it is not different from itself, just like the consciousness is in the dream state. Next slide. In a dream, the dream objects, the Vishaya, seem real, but they're just appearances in your unchanging awareness, the Bodha. Similarly, waking world objects are illumined by consciousness, but are not affected by the objects. Thus, in the next slide, please. Thus, Vidyaranya analyzes that in sleep also we have a form of experience. It is not blankness, but it is the experience of blankness. The recollection of having slept well is possible only if you have collected the experience at the time of sleep. Now, in this next slide, if such an experience is to take place, then thought should have been in existence in sleep. Where does this thought arise? In Shushupti, we say the mind is resolved. But in the absence of mind, how did the thought arise? The mind is not destroyed in deep sleep, but it is in a latent, unmanifest condition called Karana Sharira. It is in this dormant mind, Shushupti experience takes place. And in that dormant state, also consciousness continues to exist, and we call it Shukshma Vritti. It is a very subtle thought, and so it is not recognized in sleep, but is recollected after waking. Next slide. In the 10th chapter of Panchadashi in Nataka Deepa, the dancers, after the end of the performance, leave the stage. But is the stage empty? No, the stage is not empty because there is light which continues to pervade even after the dancers exist. The emptiness of the stage is known because of the light principle. Similarly, when all thoughts and experiences go away and no more drama happens in the mind, even then consciousness continues throughout. So the next slide, Vidyaranya says in the second line, Evam sthana traye api eka samvit tadvad dina antare. Thus, in all three states, waking, dream, and sleep, and across days, consciousness remains one and the same. Therefore, next slide, Avastatrayam changes. Avastatraya Sakshi does not change. So what is the take-home message here? We suffer when we identify ourselves with objects and thoughts. True liberation is to recognize I am the screen, not the movie. I am the constant witness behind all experiences. Therefore, change belongs to the scene, the drishyam. But remember, you are the seer, the drik. Hari Om. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam, for a nice presentation. And we can see how Swami Vidyaranya has moved deep into deep sleep state and trying to explain to us what is that state of blankness, which is a thought. May I now request Dr. Divakar to present the 7th verse of the first chapter.
Thank you, sir. Hari Om, Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Now, this is a section where the Jivatma analysis is happening. Now, Jivatma is analyzed at 3 levels. One is at the Chit level that we have seen till the previous slide, previous verse. And now the shift is going to take place from Chit to Sat. And in the next verse, Ananda is also brought about. So, when we say Jivatma, the essential nature of the Jivatma is that of Chit, which is very well established till the last verse. Now we are going to see that essential nature of the Jivatma is also Sat, and the essential nature of the Jivatma is also Ananda in the next verse. So Satchidananda is the essential nature, and all of them are beautifully brought out in these verses. Now, Swamiji uses the term acronym essence. What is the essential nature of Atma or essential innate properties of Atma? It is essence, ESNS. E stands for Ekaha. S is sentient, Saraha. N is a Nitya, that which is eternal. Nitya is also Sanatana. And then S for Satya, that which does not change across the time, that which is self-dependent, that which does not depend on anything else, that is Satya. So we will see all 4 of them are brought out in this particular verse. So the verse goes like this. मासाब्धयुगकल्पेषु गता गम्येष्वनेकधा नोदेति नास्तमेत्येका संविदेशा स्वयं प्रभा. Next slide, sir. This is now the continuation from the previous verse. This is a very beautiful logical analysis of how the Chit is also Sat. We have heard this before, Chit eva Sat, which means Chit or the Chaitanya is nothing but the Sat, which is the pure existence also. In the last verse we saw, Evam sthana traye eka samvid tatvad dinantare, which means across the 3 states of the jiva, which is Jagrat, Swapna and Sushupta, what does not change is the Sakshi or the consciousness or the Chit Swarupa. What changes, of course, is the objects and the thought. Now we will see that this changeless principle, is it limited only to Dina? It says Dinantare does not change. In this verse, it is continued. Even Masantare, when we take Dina, then Vara, in the days to come, it will not change. In the weeks, it will not change. In the months, it will not change. Abda is the year. In the years, it will not change. And then comes the Yuga. In the Yugas, it will not change. And in the Kalpas, all of them, it will not change at all. So we saw that the screen does not change, only the colors, images on that keep changing. That screen will remain like that forever. It is eternal. And we've also seen what happens in the Sushupti. We can argue that in the Jagrat and Swapna Avastha, the thoughts are there, thoughts will come and go. As Chetna ma'am has beautifully brought out, in the Karana Sharira, in the Sushupti, the thoughts are there in the dormant form, in the unmanifested form. Like that, the Karana Sharira exists. It survives even after the death of the body. We know that when somebody dies, what leaves the body is Sukshma Sharira and Karana Sharira, both of them. Which means what? The dormant thoughts can survive forever until the pralaya. So it survives forever until the kalpa also it survives. So if we look at the explanation of this, so the consciousness is same across the three states, but not the objects and the thought. Since the consciousness is eternal, not only across the day, month, and kalpa, which means it is eternally existent. That eternally existent principle is called as Sat. For that which is ever existent, listen to this carefully. For that which is ever existent, existence has to be an intrinsic nature. So the term ever existent consciousness, for that existence has to be its intrinsic nature. Like how the heat is ever existent, ever present in the fire. When we say, when we light up the fire, we will not say, when did the heat in that come about? Did it arrive and go? No, it was always present within the fire as its intrinsic nature. Just like that, existence is an intrinsic nature of the eternal consciousness. You see how beautifully this is brought out. Ever existent, therefore existence is the intrinsic nature. So what does that mean? So that is called as Sat. So Trikale yat tishtati tat Sat. That which exists in the past, present, and future without any change is Sat. We can see how beautifully the transition has happened from the Chit to Sat. The next slide we'll see. So, and we have seen this, previous slides, sir. Yeah, we have seen it in the Bhagavad Gita chapter 8 also. Here the terminologies of Yuga, Kalpa are brought about just for the academic purpose. Not that it matters in the context of consciousness, just for the academic purpose, this is brought out. So one day of Brahmaji, which is, this is not Brahman, this is Chaturmukha Brahma, is Kalpa. And that lasts 1,000 cycles of the 4 ages, which is Mahayuga. And his one night is exactly the same. So the wise who know this understands that reality about the day, which is the creation. So we are now in the 51st year of Chaturmukha Brahma. This is the first day of the 51st year. So we are, when we tell about Sankalpa, just before any puja, Sankalpa is told. Now we are in the Shweta Varaha Kalpa. In that Vaivasvata Manvantara. And then we are in the Kali Yuga. So when we say before that Dvitiya Prardhe comes, Dvitiya Prardhe means the second half, which means we are in the 51st year of Brahmaji, and this is the first day. Day is the manifestation, creation. So in the night, everything is pralaya in the unmanifested form. So we know that Kali Yuga is 4,32,000 years. Into 2 is Dwapara Yuga. Kali Yuga into 3 is Treta Yuga. Into 4 is Satya Yuga. So one Maha Yuga is basically, so you have seen that number there. So, and then you have the Kalpa, which is about 1,000 cycles of that. So one Kalpa is 1 day for Brahmaji, which is 4.32 billion years. So we are talking about this consciousness or Sat, which is the same across these kalpas. It is not only across 3 avasthas, the very same thing is same across kalpas. So through all these kalpas, Atma remain unchanged. Therefore, that Atma, which is Chit, is also Sat, is Sanatana. Now we know where the word Sanatana Dharma comes from. This is the Dharma which anchors on this eternal truth. That which keeps Brahman or Atma as a core principle. Therefore, the Sanatana Dharma, the way of life which anchors on that. Next slide, sir. So, not only that, this verse also brings about the Nirvikara principle. Nirvikara is what? That which is not subjected for any modifications, that which does not subject for any changes. So it is the same throughout the time. So we have seen already, because it is not the object, because it is not the thought, because it is not Prakriti, it does not modify. There is no mutations. It is kutastha, it is immutable. So why does this matter? It matters because then we can make a differentiation between the eternal principle, which is nirvikaraha, and that which is a changing principle, which is including our own body and mind, shifting our attention from the changing, the savikara body and mind, to the nirvikara. So we know that our body and mind and prakriti is subjected for shadvikaras, which is asti, jayate, vardate, viparnamate, apakshiyate, and vinashyate, whereas nirvikara does not have any of this. So we have seen that specifically in some of the Bhagavad Gita verses 2.20 and also in the Atma Bodha study that we did recently. Next slide, sir. So, and then the third line, okay. Na udeti na astameti eka. This principle that is eternal, that chit and the sat, which is ekaha only. So we see the sun as though it is rising and then it is setting. However, on deeper contemplation, we know that this sun is not moving at all. It is the earth which is moving around. Just like that, when we think that I am this body and mind, it has the arrival and the departure. But if we shift that focus to the Sat principle, that Nirvikara eternal principle, just like the sun which doesn't move, even this doesn't move also. So this line tells about that it does not rise, it does not set, which is always there, which is constant and homogeneous and uniform. In the next slide, we'll see that this very same Sat is also self-effulgent, which is self-illuminating. So we need the light, we need Aarti to show Ganga, we need Aarti to show the God. What about its own self? It is self-effulgent. We don't need any more light to show the Aarti itself. And we have seen that in famous Upanishadic verses, Mundaka Upanishad and Katha Upanishad, which talks about Natatra Suryo Bhati. So that very same Satchit is also Mahadeva, which is the light of the lights, which means it does not require any other light to show its own presence or existence. That in essence is the summary of this particular verse. Hari Om, sir. Om Shri Guru Bhyo Namah.
Thank you very much, Dr. Divakar, and very nicely brought out. And we see how the pace of the whole text is moving from samvid being the important aspects of chit, and then moving on to samvid being consciousness being sat, and also this we are reminded of the Ekashloki of Adi Shankaracharya, Kim Jyotistava. May I now request the 8th verse of this chapter to be explained by Sri Shailendraji.
Yeah. Gurubhyo Namaha. So next slide, please. So in this verse, till now we saw that Sat and Chit. So now Vidyaranya extends it to Ananda. So Sat, Chit, Ananda. Since we have seen Chit and Sat part of it, so we'll move into the Ananda. So in verse 8 and 9, he talks about the Ananda. Next slide, please. So here in verse 8 and 9 as Ananda, so the 8 talks about more related to desire to live forever. And the next verse 9 talks about everything is loved for the sake of self. So the verse goes like this. Iyam atma paranandaha param Parapremaspadam yataha mana bhuvam hi bhuyasamiti prematmani kshyate. So if you see this verse, the below there is a padachedana given. So the first line on the left side, Hiyamatma Parananda Param Premaspadam Yataha. So Iyam here refers to this or the Satchit, the Jivatma, then the Atma, the self, Paranandaha, so that is known as supreme bliss. Next, the Parapremaspadam, which means a source of happiness, the abode object of highest love or the highest source of Ananda. And Yataha is because. So it explains that why it is so. So the second line here talks about Manabhuham I Bhuyasamiti Prematman Nikshate. So Manabhuvam here together means let me not die or let me not cease to exist. So he is indeed, and Bhuyasam. So Bhuyasam means may I come again. Literally it means let me survive all the time or let me live forever. Iti. So this is the quote that has been given. And prema atmani ikshate. So love in the self is seen or perceived. So everyone perceives it as the love in the self. Next slide, please. So here Vidyaranya establishes for Ananda. So Atma is, we are saying Atma is not only the self, Satchit, but it is the source of Ananda as well. And Atma alone is the source of Ananda or happiness or joy. And why do we get the joy and why do we get? So it is mainly because of the object that gives the happiness. That is, those that gives happiness becomes the object of love. So here Vidyaranya gives an example of say if we, for example, if we say I love Carnatic music. Why do I love? Because I like it and it gives joy to me. And other hand, like I don't love pop music. So why is it so? Because I don't like it and hence it doesn't give me the joy. So coming to, so whatever is an object of love, it is a source of happiness. That's what it establishes. Then he also talks about like yatra yatra premaspatatvam tatra tatra ananda hetutvam, means the prema which is love and aspada object. Prema the spatam means whatever is an object of love, hetu source of ananda, that is the source of happiness. And who doesn't love oneself? Everybody loves oneself. Selfish is so natural and instinctive, which means we love ourselves. Then how many sources of joy do we have? We have several sources of joy. So whether in objects or in persons or anything. So we have the source of joy exists in many things, and which also includes the Atma or the self, which is also the object of love. Therefore, so self is also an object of love. So this logically this extends to self being an object of love means that is the source of joy, which is Atma Ananda Hetuhu. Next slide, please. So when we say we love something, so what do we love and which one do we love most? So if we ask the question, so love can be conditional or unconditional. So what is conditional? So conditional is something like, okay, if we like a person who is beautiful, we may like him as long as the beauty exists. So if the beauty is gone, we may change our mind. So this is something like conditional love, which is anatma ananda. That means then moving into the unconditional love. So for atma or the self, so we love ourselves so much, and there is no condition for that. We keep loving it forever and ever. So on the same way, there are three questions that is talked about. So when someone loves us, so is it that we are the first in the list or the last in the list? Or how do we decide what is the number one in the list? Or what is the greatest source of joy and how do we find out? So many questions ponder when there is a conditional love. So whatever is loved most must be the source of the greatest joy. And we can never love anyone more than ourselves. Therefore, it is called Parama Premaspadam. So Premaspadam Atma, Atma must be Parama Ananda Hetu. So in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad 2.4.5, you also see Atmanastu Kamaya Sarvam Priyam Bhavati. So it says, for the sake of Atman self, everything is loved. So in essence, like the truth. So what is the truth? The ultimate love of object is self-love. Self-love alone is unconditional, and self-love is the highest love. Whereas non-self-love is always next to or inferior to our self-love. So self-love expresses itself and wants to protect itself all the time so that it lives forever and ever. And let me not die being myself, the source of life. Mana bhuvam. So let me not cease to and exist. And bhuyasam, let me love forever. So that is, everybody wants to be immortal because everyone loves oneself. So next slide, please. So in essence, to summarize, we see on the right side, it's the whole meaning of the verse is this consciousness, which is our self, is of the nature of supreme bliss, for it is the object of greatest love, and love for the self is seen in every man who wishes or who expects to never cease or wants to exist forever. So this is what it is talked about in this verse, Ananda 1, where it is to desire to live forever. So basically, we to remember what is the source of happiness, and Atma is Satchit, Ananda Hetu, and Atma is eternal, and unconditional love towards self is exists, and it is a desire to live forever. Guru Bhyo Namah.
Thank you, Sri Shailendraji, for a nice presentation and bringing out that the self itself is Ananda. In just about 6 verses, the depth of Swami Vidyaranya's teachings to highlight this consciousness being our inner aspects of both Chit, then it's the Sat, the existence, and now Ananda. It almost culminates into a complete chapter to understand the essence of these 6 verses. Some points which appeal to me and which I would like to highlight is the Swapna Rahita Sushupti is Mula Avidya or Tamas. And the knowledge of this Tamo Bodha, Tamo blankness, is so important. We don't catch this very clearly till we think about it again and again, that deep sleep with blankness itself is a experience. That blankness experience is a thought, and that thought, for that thought to be understood, you need consciousness. And this is the Karana Sharira, which is translated in the dormant mind. Now, consciousness in the mind is just one continuous principle. The pot thought and the pot experiences come and go, but the consciousness principle illumines it. Everything is replaceable, but the invisible, immortal essence of Sakshi Chaitanya remains all through. And it is Swayam Prakasha, it is self-illuminant, and it is Swatah Siddha, it is self-evident. It is eternally existent, and this existence, which was so well brought out by Dr. Divakar, is its intrinsic nature. And so now we are able to understand a little more when Our teacher, our sir used to tell about the Rasgulla example and say that Satev Chit, Chitev Sat. It makes more sense now. The real meaning of I is this Sat and Chit, and Atma alone being the source of Ananda. Repeating this again, Yatra Yatra Premaspadatvam Tatra Tatra Ananda Hetutvam. Everything that gives us unconditional love is that self, and that is what is Sat Chit Ananda. What happens to a Jnani's self? For him, the self is the entire universe. Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha. We now move to the quiz, and may I now request Srimati Rama Gopal Krishna to take over and present the quiz with its answers coming forth.
Harihi Om, Sri Guru Bhyo Namaha. Teaching quiz from shlokas 5 to 8 of Tattva Viveka Prakarana that we studied today. In this Prakarana, Swami Vidyaranya introduces the nature of Jivatma as Satchidananda. He establishes the Chit aspect of the Atma, analyzing our day-to-day experiences. How do experience one get? When the consciousness comes in contact with the object, that particular object is experienced. Every experience involves various objects in different states of mind and the consciousness. Depending on the nature of the objects perceived in the three states, state the following statements whether they are true or false. Plurality, unsteady, fleeting existence is in which state?
It's in dream or swapna state.
Swapna state, correct. Then singular, steady, and homogeneous.
It is in deep sleep or sushipti.
Correct. Then physical, exists for a long period, relatively steady.
It's in waking or jagaran state.
Jagrana state, correct. But the difference between Jagrat and Swapna is this, the objects in the Jagrat is relatively steady. That's all. Okay, then the next question says, not emptiness, only one object, homogeneous.
I think it is deep state or sushipti state.
Correct. Yes. Rise and fall, agama pahi, variety.
I think this is into two states, which is waking or Jagrat state, and also the dream and the swapna state.
Correct. Correct. Then the next question says plurality, gross, fleeting existence.
This is in waking or Jagrat state.
Jagrat, correct. That means you have understood, we have understood the three states of mind and the objects in them. The consciousness remains the same, supporting all the experiences in avasthatraya. Experiences vary depending on the nature of the vritti in that state of mind. Now let us identify the nature of the vritti associated with different states of mind. Not only three states, but there are few more states that is mentioned in the question. Next slide, sir. Okay, we didn't read the answer. Okay, next slide, sir. Yeah. Can you read the questions and then match the answers?
Okay, thought mode or the type of vritti.
Yeah.
So nirvikalpa vritti.
Yes.
I think looking at the state of the mind, this goes with the seventh, the dormant mind.
Dormant mind, as well as
then the fourth, the thoughts in deep sleep state, and
yes,
as well as the eighth one, which is the blankness thought.
correct. So these answers can be we can have multiple choices also. Then the second one is sukshma vritti. Yeah.
Sukshma vritti. Sukshma vritti, it goes with like the thoughts in coma state, and the thoughts in the deep sleep state, and also the thoughts in samadhi state. So there are multiple
answer
minds here.
Yeah. So the
Moving
same,
to the
yes, same vritti can be in samadhi state, coma state also. Okay. The next one is karana sharira vrittihi.
Karna Sharira Rutti. I think it goes with the dormant mind.
Dormant mind. So this is in which state of mind? Karana sharira vritti. It is in deep sleep state.
Deep sleep state, yeah.
Yeah.
Dormant mind.
Okay. The next question is savikalpaka vritti.
Savikalpaka Rutti is in number 1, the thoughts in the waking state.
Correct. Next one is tamo vritti.
Tamo Rutti is, I think it goes with 2 of them, which is 7th, which is the dormant mind, as well as the 4th, the thoughts in the deep state.
Oh, correct. Then chetana vrittihi.
Chetana Vritti, I think it is the 6th one, which is every thought. So all the thoughts.
Yes, because every experience includes consciousness in contact with the object thought of an object. So every vritti is chetana vritti or sentient vritti. Okay. Then the next one is vastu akara vritti.
Vastu Akara Vritti, I think it is in the waking state, that is the thoughts in the waking states, as well as the thoughts in the dream state.
Dream state, yes. Dream objects thoughts are subtle in nature, whereas in the waking state it is gross. The last one is avidya vrittihi.
Vidyaruthi is, I think, the 8th one, the blankness thought.
Yes, you are right. So let us see the answer once in the next slide. Okay, I think, okay. Moving on to the next question. The next question is about the relationship between the consciousness and thoughts. Behind all the seemingly different experiences, the consciousness is same irrespective of thoughts and the state of mind. The consciousness illumines the thought of an object. With this background, let us attribute the following features to either the thoughts in the mind or the consciousness. You have to identify which one belongs to either the consciousness or the thoughts in the mind. Awareness.
So awareness, I think it's in the consciousness.
Consciousness. Which aspect of awareness does it show? The awareness, which aspect of Atma?
I think maybe you can.
Chit. Part of, yes, knowledge or awareness, consciousness, and chit part of Atma, that is the thing. Arrival and departure, whether it is consciousness or thoughts.
Arrival and departure is thoughtness in the mind, because consciousness is changeless.
Yes. Consistency.
Consistency, I think, is in the consciousness, because it never, always the things are same. It never changes.
Yes. Karana sharira vrittihi.
Karna Sharira Vritti is the thoughts in the mind.
Thoughts in the mind in deep sleep state.
In deep sleep state.
The word vritti means it is a thought. So the question itself has the answer. Okay. Then existence bereft of thoughts.
It is consciousness.
Okay. Then objectless experience.
Objectless or the thoughtless experience is again in the consciousness.
Consciousness, correct. Wherever you see experience, consciousness is associated. Okay, the ananda.
The rise and fall, right? That's in the consciousness.
No, ananda. Ananda is a feature of which one? Thought or the consciousness?
Ananda, 12th one is the consciousness. Ananda is
7th one, consciousness.
Yes.
Consciousness. Then the next one. Okay, there is some okay. The correct. Rise and fall is in the thoughts. Correct. You are right. I'm sorry. Tamo bodha.
Tamo bodha is in the thought.
In the thought. Undergoes change.
Undergoes change is again thoughts in the mind only.
Mind.
Conscious does not change it.
Yeah. Exists in dormant mind.
Again, it is thoughts in the mind.
Thoughts. Plurality.
Plurality is again the thoughts in the mind only.
Transcends time factor.
Transcend time factor is again thoughts in the mind.
Yes. And that is shown in the shloka by the word masabdha yuga kalpeshu.
Yeah.
Then the self-evident.
Self-evident is consciousness.
Consciousness. How, what is the word used in the shloka for the self-evident meaning, to get the meaning of self-evident? It is Swayam Prabha.
Swayam Prabha.
Yeah. Rise and fall is thought. Okay. Then different from tamo vritti.
Different from tamo vritti is again consciousness.
Correct. Then object of our greatest love.
Object of our greatest love is again in the consciousness.
Yes, consciousness or the self is the one that we love the most. Okay, it's nice that you have understood all so far very well and answering all the questions is nice. After analyzing okay, we can see the answers in the next slide. Anyway, it's quite easy and straightforward. Yeah. Okay. After analyzing Jagra Swapna Avasthas, Swami Vidyaranya examines the experience in the deep sleep state. He indicates that the experience is that of an experience of blankness and not mere blankness or nothingness. The absence of everything implies everything is in dormant form. Vedanta calls this as Mula Avidya or Tamas. Now, the question is in the next slide. Okay, next slide, sir. There are two questions in this slide. Okay. The awareness of having slept is not possible during deep sleep because the consciousness was not located there, lack of experience due to absence of senses, the self
No.
is not involved in deep sleep, ignorance due to our karmas accumulated over past janmas, the consciousness is limited only to other states.
Yeah, so here the first three and the fifth one are not so. So it is fourth one, the ignorance due to our karmas accumulated over past births.
Okay, correct. And then the next question is the shloka 8. With reference to the shloka 8, the shloka 8 explores the inherent nature of the Atma or consciousness as supreme bliss. This is the gist of the shloka 8. Let us examine the words in the shloka to know this. The word parapremaspadam.
That the consciousness is the source of happiness.
Correct. It implies that the consciousness is a source of happiness. The prayer, Mrutyorma Amrutam Gamaya, it shows, what does this imply?
It is Ananda Hetuhu.
Correct. The words Atmani Parama Prema in the shloka 8 shows, what does?
It is the unconditional love towards self.
Towards the self.
Because self is what we love the most.
Love the most, correct. Because all other loves, that whether it is a subject, mean the object or a person, it is all subject to conditions. So here the self-love is the unconditional one. The word Yamatma in the shloka 8 refers to the which aspect of Atma?
It is Satchit.
Satchit. So far we have learned until shloka 8 that Atma is Sat, existence, and Chit, the consciousness aspect. The Manobhava of Bhuyasam in the shloka 8 indicates that the consciousness is?
Consciousness is eternal, forever.
Eternal, correct. Now you can see the answers in the next slide. Let us confirm. Okay. Yeah. Moving on to the next one. By Avasthatraya Viveka, Vidyaranya first established the Chit aspect of Atma. The consciousness exists continuously without modifications. The consciousness is eternally existent and it is its intrinsic nature. Sateva Chit and Chiteva Sat, as Dr. Divakar explained. And therefore, Jivatma is Satchit Rupaha. The shloka 8 shows that the Atma is a source of Anandaha. Thus, Swami Vidyaranya establishes that the Atma is Sat, Chit, and Ananda Rupaha. From the shloka studied so far, that is from 2 to 8, let us explore a few lakshanas of consciousness inferred from the shlokas that we studied so far. Can you please identify the lakshanas based on these words? That means Vishayad Bhinnaha shows some important aspect of Atma or consciousness. What is that?
I
Vishayad
think it
Bhinnaha.
is Vishayad Bhinnaha is Vastu Aparicchannatvam.
Aparichinnatvam. Okay. Then it is stated in the shloka 6.
Yeah.
Then Masabdha Kalpa Yugeshu. Sorry, Masabdha Yuga Kalpeshu. Sorry. This shows
That is Desha Kala Aparicchannatvam.
Aparichinnatvam. Okay. Then that is in the shloka 7. No deti na astameti.
So that is eternal as it is beginless and the endless. So it is forever.
Yeah. Udeti means it is beginningless. Na astama eti means it is endless. Eka, that is the word eka.
Eka is like more like non-duality, which is Advayam or Advaitam. Advaitam Gnanam.
Advait. Yeah. Then the next word is samvit.
Samvit is Gnanam or Chitta Ashaha.
Chittamsha.
Chittamsha.
Correct. Yeah. Swayam prabha.
Swayam Prabha is Satamsha or self-evident. So it is ever, it is changed by itself.
Yeah. Parama premaspadam or parapremaspadam.
That is Anandam, which is the super bliss.
Supreme bliss.
Supreme bliss, yes.
Bodhat na binnaha. See, all these things, the first one we said it is Vishayat bhinnaha. It says Bodhat na bhinnaha.
Bodhat, there is no differentiation. So which is when you have Gnanam, you will not have this Bhinna.
Bodha is the awareness. It is not different. Na bhinnaha means it is not different from awareness. That is the Gnana aspect of it.
Gnana.
So, yeah. So thus, the Swami Vidyaranya establishes that Atma is Sat Chit Ananda Rupaha, depending on based on our day-to-day experience. Harihi Om, Namaste, Sri Gurubhyo Namaha.
Thank you, Dr. Vishankar sir, for your excellent moderation. And all speakers of the day, Srimati Apeksha, Dr. Chandrakala, Srimati Chetana, Dr. Divakar, and Sri Shailendra for a wonderful explanation of the verses 5 to 8 of Tattva Viveka chapter. Thank you, Srimati Rama Madam and Sri Shailendra, for further consolidating our understanding of the 4 verses with a beautiful teaching quiz. Thank you all friends for your attentive participation. Coming Monday on 18th August 2025, let's tune in for 6th session of Mananam series at 6:45 p.m. to listen to Dr. Hegde sir, who will take up 19 of chapter 1, Valli 2 of Kathopanishad. That brings us to the end of today's session. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Thank you. Thank you all.